Isn't it fun to watch Shayna, to just imagine other women exuding her personal empowerment of like, I want to have it all. There's no even like tinge in your voice that there's going to be a resolution of like, okay, well, I guess this is what it is. Like, this is,
there's no give up.
yeah, tragedy happened. It's like, no, I'm going to figure out a solution, even if it has to be like, we're going to rip the Band-Aid off and try something completely new when we all know that new is hard and change is difficult. It's so cool to watch your show up. And if any of the ladies who are watching right now can just walk away with a piece of that confidence, just like, I'm worth it, I'm valuable, and I can do something completely new in order to have it all.
Here's the deal. We're two moms that we pop babies out in our 40s. And it's hard. It was hard.
It's also the best thing that's ever happened to either one of us.
Yeah, but now we're moms in our 40s.
In our 40s.
With preschoolers. So let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
Let's bring the community together of women.
All the moms, 40, 20.
And also, like, let's just talk about like real shit. Real life, real women shit.
Yeah, real women shit. Let's do that.
Shit's hard. And also it's funny. Life is funny.
Let me just pull my bush out of my bush.
Cheers.
Cheers. Unfiltered.
Because if you want a show, we're a shit show. We're here for you.
Yeah.
So, you guys, welcome. Wait, hold on. Watch, we just started doing this, Shayna. This is fun. Wait, hold on. You're thinking, how good are you at technology? I am so good at technology. We got the soundboard going on. Welcome to my trash mama. Hey, Hip Hop Anonymous. We have got our first out-of-state guest today.
Woo!
Miss Shayna Fabrizio, you guys. We're so... Wait. There's buttons here that say... Shayna, you could hire me to do your AV.
I should.
Can you hear any of that on your end?
No. Well, I heard the music and then something happened and then I wasn't sure what was happening. So
So it's about the same as it is over here.
That's actually exactly how it sounded. So again, if you'd like me to come out to Ohio and do your AV at any point in the future, I am readily available. You're welcome.
the fact that you have a soundboard and can push the buttons, you're ahead of me. So you're good.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we can push some buttons. So that's great.
Yep. Ask the Johnny what kind of buttons we can push.
So her husband's name is also Johnny. So now we just have the Johnnies.
Yeah.
The Johnnies. That's
Yes.
awesome.
The Johnnies.
Yeah.
Yep.
It makes it easy and difficult sometimes, but like, because when you're yelling at one, you're yelling at both. But that actually...
That tracks well. They probably both need a little yell at.
A little.
Because they're usually up to something together anyway. So.
It's true.
That's funny.
Okay. Again, this is our first good old run with somebody who's not in the room with us. So we're going to learn a couple things about like delays. Remember that? That's new.
I mean, yeah. We've all had dial up. We remember what happens.
You guys are really good at that. Oh my gosh.
This is what we're like half the time. So Megan, since you don't know much about Shayna, I'll go ahead and do the intro because you'd stuck at it right now.
I would. I'd be like, this is what's your name again? Just kidding.
Doing it. You guys, Shayna and I have been friends. I was doing the math yesterday and it's been 13 years since we've known each other. I know, which is just wild and amazing since we were on that cruise boat together. Yeah. And we've been through a lot of life. And when we were just thinking about, what different incredible mothers, women, friends, we would like to have here to be able to share with you guys, Shayna popped into my head instantly for a multitude of reasons. We have done probably, at least a couple handful of live videos, if not, probably 20 plus live videos together. We've been chatting on the web for a while.
Awesome.
But you guys, Shayna is not only a lifestyle coach, she's now a type 2 diabetes. Would you call it coach, consultant?
Prevention. Yeah, like prevention consultant. Yeah.
Okay, prevention consultant. She's been an entrepreneur for a grip of time. She's a WAHM. I like to call it a WAHM, which is what we're going to talk about today. She's a work-at-home mama.
Yeah, not part of the group with
No.
George Michael. Not that Wham. I mean, she could be, but
I was actually trying to think
You
of
know
a
the
single
Wham
song.
songs, actually. I could sing all the songs.
Okay, we do a lot of singing, so we're ready. When you want to throw in some
Right.
WAHM anytime, we're
Good.
break it down.
Go right along. Good.
Yeah. So she's a work-at-home mama, has 5 incredible children, and we want to hear. Really today, we want to chat about what it's like being a work-at-home mama. Would you want to be? Would you not want to be? How do you get there? If you would want to be, how would it be supportive? What are the challenges? And then just all of the other things from this incredible woman. And you guys, I also just have to mention that she is a breast cancer survivor and warrior, little vixen over there. Do you remember, Shay, when you were like, I think I might just keep my hair short forever afterwards?
No, I did.
And then
it was so freeing to be bald and then to have very short hair. It was kind of like being a boy, I guess. You really have to watch it, and then you don't do anything. It was so much easier than this, but
but then it grew back so freaking luscious and gorgeous and thick, and then she's like got this like hair down all over. I'm like, wow, look at you, girl. She did it. Woo. Okay, so Shayna Fabrizio.
You guys are awesome. This is so much fun. I wish that I were like in the room with you, but this is the best.
We do too.
We'll do an episode when you come out, because we keep saying that I mean, I don't know, we have an annual trip yet this year, but we'll talk about it and then we will schedule it for sure. Well, we could even let Nick, maybe we'll give him a mic. I don't know. Maybe not.
Well,
her husband.
We'll see. He seemed like he was real interested in being a mature-ish mama
He
today.
did.
So we'll coach him a little bit and see if he makes the cut.
Right.
Oh my. Okay. So Shayna, just start off by telling us about yourself, your story, tell us about you. Talk to us about you, girl.
Good. Wow. I know this is so funny. Like just thinking back to when I wanted to be a work from home mom, or how did that even happen? Yesterday when you sent me a little survey, and I was like, gosh, you just, as a mom, we just go through life and we do what has to be done. And so looking back, I'm like, wow, like that's pretty cool that I made this transition. So the story is, you guys, I'm born and raised in Ohio, Midwestern girl, went to Ohio State University. I literally knew from the time I was like 13 or 14 years old that I wanted to be a physical therapist. So I had an uncle that had an accident with an airplane, like literally ran out of gas in his airplane, crashed his airplane, survived it. And I watched him go through the rehab process, and it was like a miracle. And I was like, what they do in therapy is like miraculous. So it was that was like my first seed. And then I did a lot of work in high school to just, water that seed. And then I went to Ohio State to be in physical therapy, and it was competitive, but I was driven and I wanted it really bad. And so I worked really hard to get in. I got my dream occupation, and my very first big girl job out of college. On my second day of work, the boss's son asked me out, and I was like,
dang,
whoa.
Second day.
Second day.
Walked in there like, hey, and he's like, who that lady be?
Yeah, but I'm like, oh my God, Shayna, this is like your first big girl job. This is like
the boss's son.
Yeah, and the boss's son. I'm like, this cannot happen. This is a really bad idea. This is so not good. And so I was like, I just don't think this is a good idea.
So you, of course, said yes. Just kidding.
Oh, well, it's funny. I said no on so I started on Monday. I said no on Tuesday. By Thursday night was our first date. So
way to hold out. Way to really just hold out.
Make him work for it a little bit.
They say you're supposed to wait, like, right, to text back. Back then, you're like, no, just wait till you see him twice and then just go to dinner.
Right. Go to dinner. Yeah. And literally, that's my husband. We've been married 25 years. So
wow, that's so cool.
None
Isn't
other
it?
than
Yeah.
So, you obviously were able to keep your job after you dated the boss's son.
I did. So, yeah, I mean, we were dating and then we decided to get married. I moved to his hometown, which is the town we live in now, was awesome. So I'm married. He's a chiropractor. So I'm working for his dad as a physical therapist. He's a chiropractor. Life is good. We decide to, have our own company, and I left that job and started to work for him. And that was really when we had our first son, who was 20, he's almost 25 years old right now. I didn't want to work full time when I had kids. I knew I didn't want to be away from home. I didn't want to be away from my kids all the time, but I also love to work. And I kind of worked my rear end off to be in the profession that I was. So
yeah.
wanted both. I've always wanted to have it all. And so I quit my job, worked for my husband, with my husband, really, the two of us. And I worked part-time as a physical therapist, when my two older kids, I have a 25-year-old, a 22-year-old, and now we have a 15-year-old. But when the two older ones were little, I loved it. I was working part-time. I would stay home all morning. It was like morning snuggle time. And then I would get a sitter from like 12 to 5, and I would just work, and I was happy. It was awesome. I loved it.
I think that the sweet spot of like imagining that sort of lifestyle where you get to have the babies snuggles, the together time, the playtime, and adult interaction, and mama time and me time, and maybe some alone time. That's a pretty sweet combo that a lot of people can't really figure out how to accomplish, I imagine. That's
Right.
cool.
Yeah, it was really great. And then our business started expanding. My husband's dad, who was my boss before, he retired from the company that he owned, and then he came and worked with us. So he was a physical therapist as well.
Cool.
So then as our company started to grow, he was kind of my job share partner. So even though we were growing, the business was growing, he would work in the mornings and I would still get to keep my afternoon shift. And it was like,
Perfect.
it was great. He was obviously my father-in-law, my husband's father. They were super close. They would run together 4 or 5 days a week. He was a life mentor, a business mentor. And really, honestly, life was good. Amazing. Life was amazing. And unfortunately, when our two boys were 3 and 5 years old, my father-in-law and his wife were killed tragically in a car accident together.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was a pivotal moment for 1,000 reasons for us. Yeah.
Can I just cut in on this action? The kids were 3 and 5. How did they handle that? Because they were obviously close. Tell us more about what that was like.
Dominic, who was 3, he doesn't remember much.
Okay.
But my oldest one, who was 5, does remember. And for a while, when we were first married, when he was real young, we literally lived right next door to each other.
Yeah.
And my father-in-law would come over and pick up my son, and they would, they'd go out for walks in the field, or they would just go, and there was a pond on the property, go feed the fish on the pond. And just like they had a lot of together time, and it was hard for him. It was really hard for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they sound like they were really interwoven into the daily life for all of you, for you, your husband, your kids. So that's a huge loss, of course, for anybody, but also just like in your day to day, what it just like flipped everything upside down.
Yeah.
So
Flipped everything.
yeah,
upside. Yeah. So
what
like our
where'd
personal
that take
life,
you? Mhm.
and then my professional life. So this is really like how my work at home mom journey started. Was I was thrust into working full time. So he was my job share partner. It was really hard to replace him. It was impossible to place him and his experience and his wisdom, but it was even hard to replace him with somebody who had the ability to do the job, even just anybody. So we tried that for a few years, but for most of that, it was me working early mornings, late nights. I was working full time plus hours. Part of that the very end, which was like the straw that was like for me the end point. I was driving an hour to a nursing home that we were providing therapy services at, working 8-9 hours and driving home. So I was like literally waking up to see my kids barely, to make sure we were making enough money. A nanny came to the house, which was helpful but not great.
Yeah, but they had just experienced this huge loss, and then they're with a nanny, and
And
mom's
now they lost
gone,
their
and
mom.
yeah.
Yeah. Like she's
Now
leaving
I'm
every day.
Oh,
Yeah, and I'm leaving every day. My husband is a workhorse too, so he's always working. But as a mom, I was like, so that's really what did it for me, was the
mhm.
being forced to work full time or full time plus hours, and I had never wanted that for myself. I wanted it all. I wanted the morning snuggles. I wanted to drop them off at school. I wanted the playtime and the play dates, and then all of a sudden I didn't have that. So that's really what was the spark for me to look for a pivot. I needed something different in my life, and I didn't know what that was going to look like, but I knew that it was going to look way different than what I had been doing. It really just kind of the way our business was working. It wasn't an option for me to go back part-time. We had tried that. We tried that. And it just kept failing. And then I would be thrust back into full-time hours. So I was like, I need like an entire shift, not just a little Band-Aid patch here or there.
Isn't it fun to watch, Shayna, to just imagine other women like exuding her like personal empowerment of like, I want to have it all. Like there's no like even like tinge in your voice that there's going to be a resolution of like, okay, well, I guess this is what it is. Like this is
There's no give up.
Yeah, a tragedy
is like-
happened. It's like, no, I'm going to figure out a solution, even if it has to be like, we're going to rip the Band-Aid off and try something completely new, when we all know that new is hard and change is difficult, but that it's so cool to watch your show up. And if any of the ladies who are watching right now can just walk away with a piece of that confidence, just like, I'm worth it, I'm valuable, and I can do something completely new in order to have it all.
Oh, the crazy thing is I was listening to the AM radio, which is like, podcasting.
You guys remember the radio?
AM radio.
So I was driving an hour. I'm driving an hour twice a day, and FM radio, like
Did
even
you have the knob where it was like shh to get to a station, like, or did you have the auto tune? Okay, that's pretty cool.
But still, it's like flip. And it's funny. It was a summer where the Shakira "Hips Don't Lie" song, I must have heard that song like 10,000 times. And I was like, I just can't hear Shakira one more time. Like I just cannot do it.
Talk about trauma. Right. There's been a lot of trauma so high, but as soon as Shakira hit the list, like now it's bad.
Yeah, it's done. I can't do this anymore. I'm giving up.
So I would listen to talk radio as just a break from the same songs over and over and over again. And there was this work from home ad that I kept hearing. It was, income from home, work from home. Do you want to work from home? And I was like, I must have heard it, I don't know, 20 or 30 times. But
was it Shakira saying it to you? Was it Shakira on the AM?
Yeah.
Would you like to work from home? Would you like to work from home? You want to work from home? My hips don't lie.
I love that.
A little 900 number for you.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
so you hear this ad.
And by the way, I just have to say, who would listen to people just talk while they drive? That'd be like the AM podcast, when podcasts weren't podcast days.
Radio.
The same thing in a different format. And back then it was like so not cool. And now podcasts are like all the thing. It's so
the
funny.
Coolest.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so you keep hearing this ad.
I keep hearing this ad, and I think two things. I would love to work from home. I have no idea what people who work from home do. Like that is not even on my radar. Everyone I've ever known in my whole life, they either had a job, they were a stay-at-home mom, or they owned a business, So I was like, what do these people do? That was my first thought. And then after I heard it over and over and over again, my second thought was, they have to be making money because they're paying for a lot of advertising. Like I'm hearing this thing over and over and over again. So I'm like, all right, they've got money, so somehow they really are making money. I got to figure out what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So here we are. We're going from one chapter of being a full-time worker to from dating the boss's son to being a full-time worker to being a part-time worker, back to a full-time worker. And now we're gonna turn the page to a new chapter of your life. And I think this is such a cool time for all of our listeners too, just to be thinking about their world and their lives and that chapter that is there to come and what it could possibly be. So Shayna, we just want to hear some inspiration about what did that look like for you, and what is it like? What do you do to work from home, and
Yeah. And how, I mean, so especially too, like as a mom and you're wanting something different and you're needing something different and you keep hearing this thing over and over and over. And then you just made the decision. Was it a phone call? Did they have a phone number? Was it a web? You just were like, I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, that was it. It was like, I mean, I wasn't like, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to work from home, but it was like, I'm going to just start exploring what the heck this means. Like this is like, you don't know what you don't know. And I literally knew that I knew nothing about work from home at that time. And so I took on the attitude of like, I'm just going to check it out. So it was a website. I went into a website and put my name and information in, and somebody called me. And I remember pulling over on the side of the road because they're like, we'll send you a DVD in the mail. And I was like, whatever. Yeah. But we need $10. And I'm thinking, pulling over on the side of the road to get my credit card out to give them $10. And at the time I'm thinking, this is really dumb. But I've also spent $10 on a lot of dumber stuff.
Things.
Like, whatever.
Yeah. Part of you is just like, what are they scheming me out of? Oh, well, I guess I won't have
pay for those ads.
Yeah.
$10 a pop.
$10 a pop. I'm like, whatever.
I so much money. Yeah.
Right. So I was like, just curiosity. It was like the perfect match for me of like curiosity and desperation. I needed to make a change, and I was just super curious about what this path would lead me to. So watch the DVD. It was real. The DVD was all about a lot of money, making a lot of money and having a lot of things. And I really wasn't excited about that because I didn't want a lot of money or a lot of things. What I wanted was time. So at that point I was kind of like, I don't know, this might not be a good fit. But when we got on the phone with them, I found out it was a nutrition company. And then I was like, oh, now that interests me. I am interested in nutrition. Ever since I had gotten pregnant for the first time, I just started following how could I make myself the healthiest for this, baby growing inside me? How do I do the best I possibly can for, my new little human? What do I do? So I had been like following that path a little bit. So the fact that it was nutrition was a good thing for me. So I just got started on the products. And honestly, my mindset at the time was still like exploration. I'm just going to see how this goes. I'm going to just keep following the path. I still wasn't on the like, this is going to change my life and I'm going to quit my job. And, but I was willing to just let it unfold kind of step by step by step. So when I started on the products, I got great results. I felt amazing. Everything tasted amazing, which was the first time that had happened. When I, tried any kind of nutritional supplement, it was always like, this is really good for me. And I really, I know, I call it like the plug and chug. We're like, oh my God.
Plug and chug. Yeah.
Plug and chug. This is good. This is good.
My husband and I call that something too, but I'm different. We don't even talk about it. Right?
Oh my God. So that was it. That was it. I was like, all right, I'm going to try it. Just following that next step. It was maybe now I can help people in a different way than I've been helping them. That was like my first clue there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did that shift occur for you where you were like, okay, I am now a stay-at-home mom and I'm going to let go of this other, because now you've made the jump, you've made the leap, you've got something that you're trying, you were curious and you gave it your best shot and you're starting to make an impact and a difference and you're learning what does it mean to be a WAHM, a work from home mom. work at home mom. WAHM, work from WAHM. That one doesn't work as well. So yeah. So at what point did you get to become
because
a full-time
having a job still, it feels comfortable and safe, and knowing that you're coming into income that you've done it and you've worked hard to be there. So to finally give that up is a big jump. So how did you get to that jump?
I knew, because I had tried many times, that it wasn't going to be like, I couldn't do both. I couldn't stay in our business full time or even part time. Like part time, it wasn't going to work. So I knew that I just had to build up enough customers, and I had to build up enough, income in this nutrition job, this nutrition world, that I could replace my income. And so I worked for that. And, I went to an event where I saw, because I really did think in the beginning, I really thought it was going to be like a little side hustle, which I was like, okay with, but not that excited about, because I didn't want more work. I wanted less work. But I went to an event and I saw people, there were thousands of people there. And the people that were on stage were like, they were making more money than I was making. Excuse me. And they had pictures on vacation. Sorry. They were making they had pictures on vacation. They were with their kids. They were at school parties. And I was like, that's what I want. And so, like, this is what I have been like working for. So then I was just laser focused on getting to that point. And the blessing was, you guys, by the time I built my business to be a work from home mom or work at home mom, I literally quit our physical therapy practice. And then our middle son has some learning challenges, and he was in the 4th grade. He had been having trouble since the first grade in school, but we had been trying to work with intervention. We had been trying to, and in the end of 4th grade, it was just super clear that traditional school was not his jam. It wasn't good for him. It wasn't good for his peers. It wasn't good for his students. It wasn't good for our family life. And so it worked out perfectly that we actually pulled him out of school so that we could do, and then I did online school at home with him because I could now, like there's no way I could have done that and had to be at a job, right? So it worked out, I don't know, divine intervention or the universe aligned perfectly, seriously, that when he needed me most, that I was available to be home with him.
Yeah, that's cool. That's fantastic.
Is it crazy just to think about, like, if you hadn't been the one taking a stand for yourself and your dreams, that I want it all, where he would be now if you would not have been able to provide him with that option. But, fighting for ourselves as mothers and as women, as in individuals, and taking a stand for what we really know in our heart that we want, it does become this divine timing. And we have no idea while we're going through it. Like, it can be really hard while you're going through all these different situations. Then all of a sudden, like, it all unfolds. You're like, I see. It all just landed for me.
Yeah. And it just is having the courage to take that very first step, and you taking that very first step, even though it wasn't like an overnight thing. It's not like you stepped out and you're like, now I work from home and I'm making all this money and I can do, it's like, you really did still have to work two jobs and grind, essentially. And work and grind until you got to a place where you said, this is it. And consciously making that effort for yourself and for your family to finally get to that point. It's maybe some divine intervention, but it's also just being a kick-ass mom and getting shit done. So congratulations.
Yeah, wait. I'm gonna use that one all the time. You are worth clapping it up for. So,
but Shayna, I think all moms have that in us. We all have that in us. We have the ability to, like, we are superhuman. I believe mothers are superhuman. We are just born, or I don't know what it is, but we can do it all. We can do it all. And sometimes we doubt ourselves, or we think that we need to just stay in the position we're in, or we feel stuck. But I just don't believe that. And I know that all moms are capable of whatever they decide to do.
Just, I know this is more like an end of podcast question, but since you're right there, Shay, what would you say to a mama who does feel like she's stuck right now? Like she's either stuck at her job or she's stuck at home and needs money and she doesn't know how to, like, what would you say to her?
I would say be actively searching,
Yeah.
because there's in today's world, there's a way more ways to make money from home than there's ever been in the history of of our lifetimes. You know what I mean? Or many
Yeah.
lifetimes. So I just think follow your gut, follow your heart, and keep searching for what is the best fit for you.
Mhm.
That's what I would say. And don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on the vision you have for yourself as a mom and for your kids and for your family, because I believe that if you stay focused on that, the right thing will show up.
You have to open the doors. It's kind of nice. It's kind of like she could be having a little conversation with you right now, because Megan's had the beautiful honor of being able to stay home with Caston, but there have been conversations. He's going to go to school in a couple years, and is she going to need to step back into the workforce, or what does that look like, or does she get to work from home, WAHM, if she wants, or so it's kind of cool. Like as you're talking, I'm like, this is like great conversation.
Yeah. Do you see my eyes? I'm like listening as hard as possible, right?
I'm listening with all of my eyeballs. So
Yeah.
what questions would you have, Megan, if that was told to you? How do you?
I mean, it's not even a question. It's just like a thank you for encouragement and just to keep that flame fueling inside of you as a mom, because sometimes I think it's really easy to kind of sit back and just accept whatever, or just accept like I am a mom, or traditional, oh, okay, now it's time for me to go back to work. And it's definitely not what I want to do or feel like that's the future for me or my family. But, you kind of get into this space where you're just like, you just got to do what you got to do. But to hear and see and be inspired by other people, and especially other moms and other women who are doing that, it just keeps the possibilities wide open and just does flame a little fire where you're like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I want to do that. And I'm going to now start being aware of the opportunities and actively searching for opportunities in ways that I can. So thanks for saying that.
Good. Yes. So good.
My brain makes me think about how we've talked, Shayna, a lot about our RAS, your reticular activating system, which is where your brain will only look for it will only see what it's seeking. It'll only see what it's looking for. So
Just like when you buy a red car, then all you see is red cars everywhere.
Yep.
Now.
And when you're pregnant, all of a sudden everybody's pregnant, but they weren't last week.
Yeah.
And now everybody is.
Yeah.
And with a work from home mom or opportunity situation is you've probably, for all of our people out there, like you've probably had 10 different opportunities come across you in the last week, and your eyes were so shut you didn't even see the different potential, or all of those different times were like, wouldn't that be a great idea? And like, yeah, it would. And then we just walk away. We're like, that'd be great. And you leave it,
Yeah. And then someone else picks it up and runs with it.
And
then you're
makes
like,
$6
gosh, I
million.
had that same idea.
There's so many different ways that you guys can work from home that, like Shayna said, you start to open your eyes to it. You see different opportunities, whether that's starting your own business, where it's doing different assisting jobs online, or maybe you're good at secretarial work, or you're good at digital media, where you can work from home around so many things. Specifically, you might be able to tell that Shayna works in a network marketing company, which is this entire additional type of business and work that people can do on the side or as full-time jobs. And it's challenging. I don't know about you, Shayna, because I've told you guys I've been involved in one for a long time, but some people, they are like, they hear that network marketing or something, and what's the first thing they hear? There's no
pyramid scheme.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
Yeah. And so a lot of people don't want to be involved in that. And we're not trying to tell anybody that you should or could, but just knowing that Shayna, that's what she's doing here. I would love to just, Shayna, ask you a couple questions, or to talk to us about what is a pyramid scheme versus network marketing, and why did you choose network marketing over
data entry?
Yeah.
Like that you could do at home as well.
Right. So pyramid scheme is like when somebody has to give you money and they don't get anything in return, like, and then their job is to get somebody else to give them money. They've been around forever in lots of small ways and really big ways. It's basically like, it's a scam because there's no goods or service being exchanged, right? So it's just it's a house of cards. It falls apart. And I don't know exactly where network marketing got that. I need to figure that out. I have no idea where that where that has, because in network marketing, literally it's the marketing end of the company is a network of people who then sell the goods or the services that the company has. So like, instead of Coca-Cola putting billboards out everywhere and Budweiser doing Super Bowl ads, like the network marketing companies, their marketing is individual people in all these communities around the world who are the marketing for the product. So they create the network, they create the community, they build and support their customers. So they're literally the marketing, the customer service, and it doesn't really have anything to do with one another. And so I'm not sure how that happened, but
as you're explaining it, that's what my brain is thinking, Shayna. I'm like, those are opposite things.
I think if I just take a stab at it, is that the pyramid schemes tried to use network marketing as their cover for what they were doing. So then when someone hears network marketing, it's like, oh, no, don't. I don't want to sign up under you. No, thank you.
I don't want to buy your Budweiser.
Yeah.
Like, not
or
gonna
like,
do it.
I just don't want to sign up under you. And then I have to get 10 more people to sign up under me. Like, no, thank you. So, because I think that was their like facade of like, oh, like, it's just a network marketing company,
instead of the acknowledgement that when you're doing any sort of this, so like in what Shayna's talking about, you can have a network and you can sell things to your network and you can never have anybody underneath you. You don't have to do that. You could just be like, I really love Budweiser. We're just going to keep going with that. This episode is sponsored by Budweiser.
Remember?
Yeah. And so you could just be like, I just sell to my 40 friends when I go to my parties, and that's my gig, and that's the amount of income that I make. Now, if you're an entrepreneur at heart, if you love people or managing or building, like I love bringing community together. So if I can help Megan sell some Budweiser to her peeps while I'm selling Budweiser to my peeps, that's cool too. That's not pyramid.
But you're not making money from me. You're making money from your peeps and mentoring me and helping making money for my peeps.
Yep. And but as I'm mentoring you, just like in a normal job, like if I'm like a manager, then I'm gonna get a little schmiggin in my pocket.
Makes
a
sense.
Little. If it's
a little,
designed well, the person doing the most work always makes the most money, which is the way it should be, right? It's like, that's not rocket science. So the person doing the most work makes the most money, and the people helping them make a little bit.
Which makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
We're debunking the pyramid scheme thing. And this is for some of you guys who are thinking about wanting to work from home and you're deciding, do I want to do data entry, or do I want to provide my masterful skill set of creating Canva documents, or do I want to maybe see if there's a product out there that I'm passionate about? And all of them are great options. Shayna, why did you pick over, like Megan said, data entry, or like, why did you pick what you picked?
Yeah, I did forget the question. So it still fulfilled my original passion of wanting to help people, like you alluded to earlier. Before, in physical therapy, I was helping with physical transformations, people that, couldn't do something, and then I helped them be able to physically make the transformation to get back to doing the thing they couldn't do before. And I worked with all ages, from preschool kids all the way to 80, 90-year-olds in a nursing home. So I loved it all. I loved the variety. I loved working with athletes. I loved working with kids. I loved working in the geriatric population. I just loved helping people make a difference. And so the data entry and those kinds of, like, I'm not a technical person. I struggle and I do my best. And I'm given my best effort when it comes to technology, but it's not come naturally to me. So, I mean,
me too.
Yeah. So to like try and make a job where I have to struggle all the time would be terrible for me. So finding a network marketing company that was nutrition based and so now I'm still helping people. I'm still seeing transformations. I'm still seeing massive changes in people's lives, and I'm still a piece of that in a different way. So I think that's what was a really good fit for me, because it just still fit my overall view of like how I can contribute to the world.
I can see too how it could be supportive. Both could be supportive for people who maybe like you are now in charge of everything for yourself, your schedule, your income, what you're doing and how you're talking to people, where maybe someone who isn't comfortable doing that or would rather be on the other side can do something like data entry and say, I work from these hours at these times and I'm good to go, you know? So I think it's really cool that there's so many options, especially post COVID.
Yeah. And I think
Like
to
that.
acknowledge something great that you said there is acknowledge your skill sets and your passions. So like Shayna, you already opened this conversation up by saying that you weren't willing to give up on you want to have it all. So you weren't going to pick something where you were going to be dissatisfied or feel like you weren't getting your value recognized or whatever that is for you, utilizing your skill sets and your passions. So I think for all of us, you might not find that the first time. You might not be like, hey, I'm going to work from home. And you try on data entry because you don't know if you can manage your own schedule. And you're like, you know what? I don't love this. I'm going to try transcribing. That'll be different. You know, I don't actually love listening to the doctors. I'm going to try something to what I'm going to make my own product and I'm going to try to sell it on wherever and just try again, opening the door of trying some different things that you're passionate about and
maybe sit with yourself before you decide to stay at home and work from home, and sit with yourself and have a real conversation about what are your goals and your passions and what you're good at and what skill sets you want to offer the world in a work area, you know, because there are so many options. And I think that sometimes we get stuck in a rut of just going through the motions in life. And maybe you don't know what those are. Like maybe you're like I know there's a time in my life where I was like, I don't even know what I like. I don't even have hobbies because I wasn't connected to myself that way.
I think that's a really good point, Meg, because I think that happens a lot to moms because we get sucked into our identity becomes whatever our kid's schedule is. And then so it's really great advice to just take a step back and be like, okay, what do I love to do? What am I good at? Yeah.
And then remembering that you can try things and then try something else if it doesn't fit and it doesn't work for you.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So talking about working from home, because you got your stay at home. I've done both. I've just recently, right? I've worked from home forever and I've just started this whole stay at home thing. What would you say some of the different challenges are of being a work at home? It's exciting, but like, what are some of the challenges?
Yeah, it is exciting. But I mean, anytime you work for yourself, whether that's at home or in even a brick and mortar business, like you have to be able to manage your own schedule. You have to be able to not be too distracted. I mean, distractions at home are one of the major challenges. And there's always a ton to do, right? So managing expectations for yourself on how much you're actually going to accomplish in a day and maintaining balance. So I would say, I think balance is a weird word because balance doesn't mean equal when you're working from home. Balance means when I'm in my office and working, I'm going to get my work done and not be distracted. And that maybe that's 2 hours today. Maybe that's 8 hours tomorrow. But then when I'm not working, I'm present with my kids and my family. And, you know, like summer times, they just opened our pool today. So summer times I spend more time outside hanging out and, you know, with the neighbors and with friends. And then, so doesn't have to be equal time balance, but focus time where you're at is probably the biggest advice. And that's also the biggest challenge because, you know, I could be in my office trying to work all the time. And then it defeats my work at home reason to be with my kids. But then if I'm with my kids and I'm thinking about the 20 things I didn't get done today, then it also like, it's still not fulfilling. So just being where you're at and making sure that you have enough time allotted for both. And it doesn't have to be equal.
Yeah.
That's great advice. I love that. That's great. Just being in it, not 1 foot on each side, but 2 feet in this side, 2 feet in this side. Yeah.
Right.
It's a little bit more double Dutch than it is diving in.
That's a good analogy. That's like a double Dutch is like a really good analogy for moms because we can doing it all at once. Yes.
Yep. Mhm.
Being aware of everything at all times and keeping our feet moving no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you ever wish it upon yourself to be stay at home instead of a work at home?
I don't think so. I can't imagine what I would do with myself if I didn't work. Like, and I've worked since I was 14 years old. I like to work. So I don't know.
Can you see any difference in your kids since you've been able to work from home? I mean, I know you talked about your one son, you've been able to help him online, which I'm sure it was a huge difference for him. But you have 2 kids, or did you have more kids after?
So, yeah.
Explain your whole family dynamic.
Yeah, because you had 2
so-
when we talked in the beginning, but
So two when I was making this transition, and then we just did so many things at once. So after my father-in-law died, and we were in the crazy mess of figuring life out, we broke ground to build the house we're in now. And then we got here and we had the opportunity to take in two high school boys that were from Africa that were in Ohio. We thought they were here for a year and they were here like indefinitely, which has been awesome. So we took in 2 more boys, 2 high school boys in like 2008. And then I got pregnant and then we had another one. So 5 boys.
wow.
And yeah, it's wild.
Testosterone up in there. Poor Shayna. Poor Shayna.
I know. I need some girl time. This has been great.
Let's do this every Wednesday.
Yes, please. Every Wednesday, put me on the schedule. That's funny. But I would say it's funny because Dominic, the one who needed me the most, probably noticed the biggest change because I was with him. Now the youngest one doesn't really know me as a work out of the house kind of person. So I know that I'm different with him because I take him to school. I pick him up from school. We're at all the sporting events where, but he didn't really see the shift. The oldest one did, and he actually decided to join us in our business and do the same thing we do because he saw the transition from, stressed out, constantly working to having some freedom to do what we want. And he's like, I kind of want that for my life. So he decided to do what we do. And then my middle one, I don't know how he would have gotten through school without an alternate path. Yeah.
I think about that a lot. Just, being, Witten's mother at this point and just the journey that we have ahead of us. And that it is so important to me that I have the opportunity to be home with him because I don't know if school is going to be right for him or what that's going to look like for his body and situations. So again, providing myself with the opportunity to have it all and do it all. And I feel what you're saying, Shayna, about would I want to stay at home or work from home? And I think one suggestion that I would give from that, because I have been a work from home for so long, I've been an entrepreneur since 2004. And then just since Witten's diagnosis is where I would call myself a stay-at-home mom or a caregiver more so, because it's more medical stuff. But just this last year, it's been this sweet spot. But I started to go a little bit not stir crazy, but like you were saying, I really felt like I needed to find something to do to dive into myself, my own relationship with myself, my friendships, my community, which is really when Megs and I came together and we're like, we gotta dive into this podcast together. And it could be something that's perhaps a hobby at one point, that's more than a hobby at another point, but finding for all of our stay-at-home mamas out there, I think I just want to celebrating everybody, our stay-at-home, our work from home, our career moms, and reminding our stay-at-home moms, all of us actually, that it is just important to still find yourself, whether that's your passion in helping people, or you do get invigorated by making money, or it's exciting to do a podcast or talk to people, but knowing that you're intentionally devoting some of your time to be with your curiosity of yourself.
Yeah, I think that it's important to know that stay-at-home mom is not different or less than, or it doesn't, if that's you, and that's awesome. And I know that, so what Kelly is really trying to drive home there is having it all for you is also knowing yourself and getting out and finding out what you love. Maybe it's a book club, maybe you just need to schedule yourself a massage every month so that you can connect with your body and with your mind, do a yoga class, whatever that is for you, to just don't let you fade away in all of this. So
I think it's interesting on some mom forums, you hope that you're hanging with the people who aren't doing this, but there's the people who are comparing our SAMs from our WAHMs, from our CAMs, career at work moms. I'm not sure, right? Like our full-time career moms, where it's there is no competition in motherhood. It's about finding love. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no right way.
It's a love and respect for everybody around you.
And you don't know everyone's situation either. Like maybe there is a lady out there, and there's probably a lot who would love to work from home or stay at home, but that's not an option. So they do have to go to work and take their kids to a daycare or have a nanny. Some people can't afford a nanny, so they have a daycare, or grandma watches them, or so we just always want to just support each other in whatever our path is, knowing that sometimes you don't always get to choose, but you can. Shay's here to tell us that you kind of can choose, though, if you want to. I mean, get out there.
That's the whole thing.
My oldest son, the older ones, they went to daycare too, and it's funny because some of their best memories, like they had a great time. So I hear like sometimes people are judging themselves even for maybe having to do that, but they're having a blast. So don't be so hard on yourself.
And the big thing that is, if mom is taking care of herself, then if you're able to fill your own cup, then you're going to show up to your family differently. And whatever that is for you, if you're fulfilling, and I know, especially right now, damn, do I know it's hard to take care of yourself, especially when things are difficult. But when you're doing that and you're able to fuel your own being, then you get to be such a better mother and wife and friend and sister and daughter. And however that shows up, whatever package that shows up for y'all, at home, working at home, spying every weekend, traveling the world, being a career mom,
taking a walk outside by yourself, getting in your car and driving down the street with your music as loud as you can by yourself.
Do that.
I got to do that last week. It was awesome. One thing I want to piggyback on that you just said is that when you look back, you wish you would give yourself a little bit more grace. And I think that's a huge, huge thing for us to all hear, is like, we do deserve grace and acceptance of ourselves, because it is a lot, no matter what the situation is. Like, even if you're just having a great life and as a stay-at-home mom, it's still a lot.
Yes. Right. Yeah. It's still a lot. That is a lot. I mean, I don't know if I could be a stay-at-home mom. It's a lot, without the work. I like to work, but to be my whole job to be that, it's a huge job. And I definitely am I admire stay-at-home moms because they've got a lot on their plate, and I don't know, because I've never been in this situation. Maybe Cal or Meg, I feel like it might be easier to lose yourself
as a stay-at-home mom.
Stay-at-home mom, your identity is wrapped inside of your kids' activities and their lives, and it's maybe harder to just hold on to who you are in those years.
I was going for the 100%. And I think that's kind of what
There's days I don't leave the house.
Yeah. There's weeks where I haven't left the house for sure. But that's kind of where I was alluding to before. I feel like that's, if you're working from home and you chose something that you're passionate about and something that you're excited about, then there's a piece of yourself that you're discovering because you have that time with yourself. If you're a career mom, I hope that you're working in a career that you love, where you have that passion, you have that peace, you have yourself. When you're a stay-at-home mom, you have to intentionally intentionally put that into your schedule, or your life will be taken over by your toddlers and you will be playing cars all day long. And that's not good for anyone either. It's not good for them and their independence, not good for you and your independence and your growth. So I do think, Shayna, that it's can be, in my eyes, can be more challenging as a stay-at-home mom. You have to be more intentional about your personal growth, I'd say.
Right.
See,
So it's a good
that's-
point. Okay, so let's do one more question for you, Shayna. You're talking to the people in the back. I like when you said that last time. Talking to the people in the back, everybody who's listening right now. Shayna, if you were just to give one piece of advice to our mamas out there watching for their fulfillment, for whatever. I mean, it could be eat avocado toast in the morning because it's healthy. If you wanted to give them some advice to walk away with today, what would it be?
Looking back, my advice to my younger self would be to give myself more grace. So I think probably a lot of moms need to do that. But if you're in a place where you aren't comfortable, or you're like, I was in a place where, okay, this is the life I built and I feel miserable. This is not how I thought I'd feel, like married with kids and the career I wanted. And I was like, what the hell? I feel miserable. Like what happened?
Yeah.
So I think just be willing to explore. That would be my big, like, be willing to explore, be willing to try something new, be willing to just follow a few different paths to see if something beautiful could unfold if you just allow it.
That's perfect.
that is perfect. I love that.
Be willing to explore.
Yes.
Whole shift for the title of your podcast right there, Shayna Fabrizio. Okay, well, any other things, any other last words, ladies? I think this was fantastic.
It was fantastic. Yeah, thanks for coming on with us today and just sharing your wisdom and your perspective of how your life has unfolded for you, because that's, wasn't, just like you said, you expected it to be one way, and a lot of people don't. They hold on to that because that's what they wanted and this was supposed to be this way, and here you just let it go and explored and found this new fantastic life for you and your family. So,
and I have to just brag on Shayna, because everybody's watching right now. They don't actually know even like the lengths of what success her and her family have created. Like, it is so much fun. Every time we get together, I am just like I geek out over the entrepreneurship conversation, because they don't only have this incredible nutritional business where they're the top 1% of the company, where they're doing an incredible thing, impacting, thousands of lives. Are you guys 2 million achievement right now?
Yeah, we just hit 2 million.
So like they're making a huge impact, but they also have multiple other businesses, brick and mortars, chiropractic offices, gyms, different like healthy nutrition bars, in addition to all of these different things, while she's supporting her son to grow this business, her adopted children, and then her, Dominic, he's going to be home with you forever. He's going to be, right. I mean, you're going to be a work from home mom with him forever, which is so cool that you have the opportunity to do that. And then her little one, taking him he's not little anymore, by the
15.
way. Yeah. Like taking him all over the place. Spoke, I don't know how many stages you've spoke on around the country, and watching them vacate and explore the world just like passionately. When she says she wanted to have it all, like, you guys follow her. We'll link her different socials, but like follow her journey, and just some of her guidance, whether that's nutritionally, being a mom, we'll provide that for you. But she really lives a big, fulfilled, beautiful, heartfelt life, coming from a very humble state. So I share all that because I know she wouldn't, because
that's awesome.
I know it's so cool. It's like when you think about like, who do you want to be like when you grow up? It's Shayna Fabrizio. She gets to have her cake and eat it too. And
but it's healthy cake.
Yes.
Cake. It's protein cake.
It's protein cake. That's
a protein
right.
shake. She can have her shake and
protein cake
shake it too.
Yeah, that's right. But you, Shayna, you are just the most tender and sweet and beautiful soul. And I'm so grateful that God put us into a space to be able to meet each other through network marketing. Basically, that's my network expanded to you because of that. And I have these friendships around the world now, and we still see each other regularly. Although I'm over here doing my stay-at-home mom kind of life right now, we still get to connect, so often. And I just really appreciate you and the woman that you are and the stand that you're taking for other people out there and their health and just your family too. So I love you so much.
I love you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
So nice to meet you, Meg.
You
I feel
too.
like
So we close it out, Shayna, and I don't know, it's gonna lay over each other, but we're gonna say, I love your guts. That's how we love our inside, our outside, the messy parts, the beautiful part. We love it all.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
we love your guts.
We love your guts.
Thank you for being here.
Bye.
Woo!
Thanks for joining, and don't forget to subscribe and, of course, share with your friends. Guys, that's how we impact more lives. All right, see you next time.
So wait, tell us your podcast name. Tell the people in the back. For the people in the back, Shayna and Nick have a podcast.
Hey, yo.
It's The Shine, and you can find it on YouTube. The Shine with, I think it's Dr. Nick and Shayna, it says. Yeah.
Awesome.
I know.
The shine.
Yay.
Woo!